Let's get started. I'm going to, if you have my real deal creamy hummus recipe handy, we're going to start with 2 cans of chickpeas. And I do the juice. Do you want to do one and I'll do one? I add them to a saucepan with their liquid, because and then I cover these with a 1/2 inch of water. So we'll do that. And Marie, the baking soda goes in here, which is awesome. And we'll get this started and talk about baking soda. That will cook. Oh, should I put that wooden spoon trick in?
Oh, yes.
I'm going to put a wooden spoon in that pot so that it doesn't boil over.
I'm going to take a sip of my drink because I love fun drinks.
Fun drinks. So what I do, I use canned chickpeas in this really simple, very authentic hummus. And you can use dried chickpeas and cook them. You can cook them in the Instant Pot, whatever you want to do. But you'll need to soak them overnight, then cook them. With creamy, authentic hummus, we're trying to get it as smooth and soft as possible. So you asked the question earlier, some recipes call for skins of the chickpeas to be pulled off. And we're using baking soda to soften those skins. It's a chemical reaction, and it will just break down the skins a little bit and the beans and make them really soft.
So you don't have to stand there.
No, you don't
hours.
stand there and peel it off.
Even though I think it's fun.
Yeah, you do. And then you don't want the hummus. You're so tired.
It's true.
But that softens it, and that is how the Israeli hummus place just up the street from my house in New York does it. And that's their trick for getting that really creamy, smooth hummus. So that cooks for, you'll bring it to a simmer and simmer it for about 5 minutes, 4 to 5 minutes. And you'll be able to see if you spoon out one of those chickpeas, it'll be super soft. So that's the beginning, and then we are going to do the next steps. So while it simmers, we have lemon juice, salt, and garlic that we put in a blender. So you can use a blender or food processor. Our food processor went on the fritz this morning. I broke it. She did. She did break it. So let's put this in we have our Vitamix, which is a nice, powerful blender. If you don't have that, no big deal. Use whatever blender or food processor you have. I usually make this in a food processor because it's flat and it really whips it around and makes it smooth, but this will too. I think we'll do the tahini as well.
Oh, right.
So, that's 2/3. Let's find a 1/2 cup. There it is. This is the secret sauce. Tahini. It is sesame seed paste. And Marie loves it. I don't.
It's bitter. If you don't like hummus because you think there's a weird flavor, it's that.
So tell them what we swapped for you.
So what we did today in my version was this cashew butter. And it's delicious. It's really smooth and not super thick. So it's easy to work with. And it doesn't leave a bitter aftertaste. You just taste the chickpeas and the lemon and the cumin that we add later. And it's
Creamy, delicious.
Creamy, yeah.
And nutty. You want that nutty,
nutty.
that nut fat in there. Is what I like. Nut fat.
Me too.
But tahini is that very traditional flavor. And it goes, like if you're making red pepper hummus, there's probably tahini in it too.
5 people.
So I'm going to start this.
Yeah, let's blend. It'll be loud for a sec.
What speed?
Just to chop up the garlic, really, so that should be good. Oh, so this is going to be lovely. That was good. What we're doing is that acid from the lemon juice kind of chops up the garlic and kind of cooks the garlic, so you don't get that really raw flavor of garlic. And what's nice is you just let this sit a few minutes. So, hey, if any of you have any questions, let us know. If you tell us if you're going to make this today. So glad you're joining us. Let's check on our chickpeas, shall we?
Perfect.
They're getting nice and foamy. We'll be back with the camera in a sec. But they're still on the crunchy side, so we'll let them boil a little longer. Now you like the cumin.
I do.
So there's cumin in this, and it's also a very traditional flavor. It's that sort of aromatic undertone that you get in really authentic hummus. And almost smoky, but it's not smoky. So anyway, I love the cumin. If you are not a cumin fan, you can cut that down, leave it out. It's really about that nutty beans creaminess. Another thing is people put olive oil in their hummus. Just kidding, you totally can.
Instead of lemon or in addition to
Mm-hmm.
just on the top, or do they mix it in?
Mix it in. Some recipes will have it in, and let's just sip our drink. And I don't love that. It adds a flavor, and I also like to drizzle it on top for that dip in, so you get the peppery olive oil in a bite rather than mixed in.
It's boiling over.
Oh, it's boiling over. Thanks. Thanks, thanks.
Did you guys hear Mia?
Oh, tell them why we call her Mia.
Oh, so do you want to come around the camera? And tell them why? Mia has a niece, Chandler, and when she was little, she couldn't say Aunt Mary, and she came up with Mia. Is that how she said it? Is that when she tried to say Mary, it would sound like Mia? So all her life, she's been Aunt Mia to Chandler, and then when Mary was going to have grandbabies, she did not want to be called Grandma, Gangy, what are the other names?
Mima.
So she said, I know, I'll be called Mia. So we all call her Mia.
And Heidi Thompson says, as soon as I'm off my diet, I will be making this. Delish.
So yeah, let's talk about diets. This fits some diets. And Heidi, yes, make it right when you're off your diet. But this fits some, and it's vegan. Marie eats a lot of vegan in her diet, and gluten-free. Is it Whole30? You've done paleo.
It would be because it's all protein.
Nice.
Unless you're not allowed to eat beans on your diet. I can't remember.
Is that keto or something?
That might be paleo. I can't remember.
Who knows? Does anyone know?
I don't do any of those diets anymore.
I know.
So.
I just do, my diet is what's in front of me, or what I feel like eating at the moment.
Seafood diet.
Yeah.
But it's actually pretty healthy and has a lot of protein because of the beans.
It is. It's very high in protein and decent calories. So I'm going to test this bean. When they're in the can, they're already cooked, and they're already pretty soft. This softens them even more, so you almost want them on the verge of getting mushy. And these are all the tricks for making it really authentic. They've softened a lot, so I think we're ready. So a fine mesh strainer goes right there. I'll tell you why in a sec, and then rinsing them. So what we're doing is rinsing that baking soda off, because it will, if you leave it on, it will leave a slightly metallic taste. So I don't know if you can quite see this. All my little skins sort of floated to the top, and I'm still going to blend them up in there. Gives a nice texture, and they're soft. And I use a fine mesh strainer rather than a colander, so I don't lose any of those yummy soft bits. So I think they're ready. Should we scrape them in? Okay. And the key also is to do this while they're hot. It helps with the texture.
And then you add the cumin with the beans.
And blend. And we have some hot water here. Sometimes you're going to want a thinner hummus if it gets really thick. So we will see what texture comes up. And then add a little bit of water if we want to.
Let me start.
We need water already. Now a blender and a food processor are going to blend those a little differently, but I'm going to add, that was about 2.5 tablespoons of water. And we have our little thing right there. I would do it up.
Oh,
Yeah.
higher.
I've never used this thing before. Ooh, it looks good.
You want to keep going?
That's awesome.
And you can see the steam, so it's nice and warm, which is actually how it's traditionally served.
Is warm. Yes. My friend Kim said she visited Israel. We have our little snack board. I'm just getting it ready because we prepared it ahead. My friend Kim said, Kim McClaws, she said she went to Israel and was so sick of hummus because it's served for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's a breakfast thing.
I'm going to let you put it in there because
Okay.
you do such a pretty job. I would just plop it and spill it.
So we have this beautiful board. My brother made it in his wood shop, and a beautiful bowl he made in his wood shop. And they're treated with mineral oil so we can use them for food. This is so creamy and soft. Marie's not going to taste it. She has her
I
own.
have my own.
She has her cashew butter.
That's
hummus.
also creamy and soft. That's cashew butter, but you can tell that doesn't really change the consistency at all. No one would even know. They'd probably like it better.
That was a secret. Okay, I like to just kind of do a little swish with a spoon because then I drizzle in olive oil. And it sits in those little crevices. And I use extra virgin olive oil for as a finishing oil. Just kind of put in there. Do you need some pools?
Sure.
You need some pools?
Yeah.
And you can sprinkle on more ground cumin, za'atar if you have that Middle Eastern spice blend.
Chili powder.
Yeah, chili powder, paprika, however you want to style it. And should we give it a taste?
Yes.
Who needs vegetables? I'm going to eat
Go
peanut.
straight for the bread.
Mmm.
Mm.
I love it warm.
Mm-hmm.
Even if I have leftovers, which it keeps in the fridge great, I warm it up and add a little more water and it's delicious. So one of my favorite things to serve with a hummus snack board or a sort of Middle Eastern dinner is this quinoa. And a restaurant just down the street from my house in New York called Nanouche makes this quinoa. It's so good. It has dried cranberries, golden raisins. I think they use regular raisins, but I use golden. Red onion, red pepper, and either parsley or cilantro, and just a little olive oil and lemon. I usually put a touch of honey and salt, but you're going to love this. Marie hasn't tasted it yet. It's one of my favorites. And I eat it, you make a plate with veggies and this quinoa and hummus if you make or buy baba ganoush. And then I really like lebne. Does anyone know how to say that? It's like a strained, thick, plain yogurt. And it just adds this creaminess to your whole dinner. It's so good. Okay, let's taste. All right, I hope you guys make this creamy hummus. And I will type in the proportions for this quinoa. You barely need a recipe. You just make it to taste. And enjoy your weekend. Have a mint lemonade and make hummus.